Hello SLAPAFISH community and welcome back to another Lord Tanks console video. So in this video I'm going to be doing a tank review on the Centurion Mark 5.1, which is a tier 8 British medium tank, which is another Centurion in the game. It's also the Bellerophon. It's the original tank of the Bellerophon. The original tank of the Bellerophon. And the Bellerophon is a 5.1, which is the same thing as this tank. So basically, I'm going to be comparing the Centurion 5.1 to the Tech Tree Centurion, the Atomic, the Huntsman, the Premium Victorian, and the Bellerophon. Bellerophon's the same tank, so it does have some differences. The Premium Victorian is a Tier 8 Swedish Centurion, and these are basically the other two Centurions for British. They're premium tanks. So this is all the tier 8 Centurions in the game, except for one, which is the Earthshaker. I didn't want to include the Earthshaker because it has a different gun, and also you can't buy that tank like you can buy this, like you can buy these tanks. So yeah, Centurion 5.1 versus the Centurion, Atomic, Huntsman, Premium, Victorian, and Bellerophon. So now, the Bellerophon is not in this comparison, where I compare to the green to the red, which one has the best, which one has the worst. So, whatever you see in blue over here in the Bellerophon, that means it is different from the Centurion 5.1. Okay? So, if it's blue on the Bellerophon, it means the Centurion 5.1 is different. Okay? Like the weight. Bellerophon is 52 tons, and the Centurion 5.1 is 51 tons. So anyway, so let's get into the tank comparison. So the Centurion 5.1 and the Premium Victorian are the heaviest tanks here. Centurion 5.1 has the best horsepower and best horsepower per ton at 18.63. All Centurions go 54, 20 reverse, and has a fire chance of 20. The Centurion 5.1 has the worst track rotations, but the Huntsman has the best track rotations. But the Atomic has the best terrain resistances, and the Tech Tree variant of the Centurion has the worst terrain resistances. And turret speed is the worst on the Atomic. Now for the speed portion of the Centurion 5.1, the Bellerophon has a worse horsepower per ton, a better weight, worse track rotation, and a worse turret speed. Basically because the Bellerophon has space armor. It has a lot of space armor. Next, we move on to the gun. All of these things get a 20-pounder gun. Even though this says a 8.4 centimeter on the Premium Victorian, it's actually a 20-pounder. This converted is a 84 millimeter gun, which is 8.4 centimeters. So yeah. So as you can see, the Huntsman has the longest reload, and the Atomic has the quickest reload. Most of these tanks have a 7.5. All of the Centurions have a 2.3 aim time. The Atomic has the worst accuracy and worst moving the tank dispersion. I don't have the dispersions of the Centurion, Tech Tree Centurion, because I don't own the tank. The Huntsman has the best moving dispersion, and the Atomic actually has the best rotating deterrent dispersion. All of the Centurions have 18 degrees of gun elevation and 10 degrees of gun depression. And the only thing, now this is actually surprised me, because the Bellerophon actually has a better rotating the turret dispersion to the Centurion 5.1. Didn't actually know that. Now let's move on to the damage. Since it's the same gun, you would assume they would hit all the same. So yeah, 230 and high explosives 280. Penetration is all the same at 226 on its standard, 258 on its premium, and 42 on its high explosive. Splash is the same. Shell velocity is all the same except the Premium Victorian. Premium Victorian has the best AP, best standard, best premium, with the worst high explosive shell velocity. Basically because this is an APCR round, APCR and a high explosive. The Premium Victorian gets a standard round, a standard round that is APCR, and APCR are the fastest rounds in the game, usually. So yeah. Now we move on to the DPM, the rounds per minute, ammo count, and potential damage. And as, like I said earlier, the Untitled had the best rate of fire, so it gets the greatest DPM, greatest rounds per minute. It also has the most ammo, and which gives it the highest potential damage. Huntsman has the worst DPM and worst rate of fire. Turret armor is all the same on paper. All these turrets right here, the Centurion 5.1, the Centurion, Untitled, Huntsman, and Premium are all the same. But the Battlefront is actually the better turret because it's got the same turret as these, but spaced armor over the front part of the turret. So it makes it very protected, more protected. Now, the Centurion 5.1 actually has better hull armor. It has 120 at the front, which you can actually use to your advantage. Which I believe this is the Centurion 7.1's hull that has 120 millimeters of armor. So yeah, you basically have a tier 9 medium hull at tier 8. So you can really use that armor to effectiveness. It will work a lot better than the 76. The view range, the Untitled has the worst view range. Premium Victorian has the worst signal range. The Centurion 5.1 has the worst hit points at 1,400, only 50 below the rest of them. Now the Centurion 5.1 has the worst concealment, and the Huntsman has the best. But the Battlefront actually has a different concealment than the Centurion 5.1, which is actually interesting. Now, we get to the boost. The silver boost is the worst on the Centurion 5.1, but the XP boost is the best on the Centurion 5.1. So I thought that was interesting. It actually gets a 15% XP boost. And as you know, the Untitled has the 65, Huntsman has the 55, Premium Victorian has the 60. So that's it for the tank comparison. Now let's go jump into some gameplay of this tank. Okay, so we ended up on Mountain Pass, and we are mid-tier, and it's also a team destruction, so no base to really worry about. So I'm going to go left, try to use my gun depression, and try to use this hull armor I have. Want to use my gun depression so I can maximize my hull armor. So yeah. Also, the Centurion 5.1 is a pretty tall tank. And if you actually look at it, the Centurion 5.1 actually reminds you like of a Centurion Action 10. It just looks like a baby version of a Centurion Action 10. It's basically a Centurion Action 10, just with a smaller gun. And right here, I get a giant lag spike. And I was trying to get up that hill, but that lag spike said no. And so when the lag spike finally ended, I was like, forget it. I'll just snipe from here. Oh well. So right now, I'm going to be sniping around, putting rounds into these tanks that come around this corner. So I do want to tell you what equipment and crew I have loaded out in this tank. And there's artillery. The artillery is actually in a platoon. They're both 53-55s, and I really thought they would both hit me, but they didn't. I was like, whew, done. So anyway, my Centurion 5.1 has a gun rammer, vertical stabilizers, and a code optics. That's my 3 equipment I have on the tank. So my crew is actually a pretty good crew. It's my crew for the Manticore, I think it is. And it's a 17-part crew. Yeah, it's the crew for the Manticore. It has designated target, smooth ride, signal boosting, adrenaline rush, controlled impact, swimming lessons, snapshot, muffle shot, repairs, off-road driving, deadeye, green thumb, mentor, camouflage, brothers in arms, sixth sense, and training firefighting. So it's got a nice crew in it, and I got decent equipment. And right now, we did take out that Compenser 50T, and now it's just time to take out this Tiger 2. I really wanted to push out towards this Tiger 2 and try to go take out this artillery. And hopefully my team will push with me. But the Waffen Traeger actually takes out the Tiger 2. So I was like, okay, I know there might be people sniping. There's more than likely going to be people sniping around this corner, so I was ready to do an immediate stop, and I kind of did. Now, that's a freedom. So, I actually learned about a weak point of the freedom, and as you can see, I remembered it right there. So, the freedom and the Super Pershing actually have a weak point between its space armors on the turret. And that's where I usually shoot at it, and you can usually pin it pretty nicely. But it's super hard to hit at distance. As you can see, I'm having trouble hitting it. I've only hit it twice. The other guys are pinning it because they're high penetration guns and stuff like that. So basically, our team has won this flank, and the enemy team won the other flank. And there's one artillery. I was thinking, I wonder where the other artillery is. So I was like, okay, it might be on the hill, or it may be over there on the left. And I was going to go over there on the left until I seen the other artillery pop up. So I was like, okay, let me just go up on top of this hill. Try to snipe out artillery and try to snipe any tanks that are coming back to come fight us or anything like that. So right now we're down by 2 tanks. And down by 3 tanks because we just lost all of our artillery. Well, about to lose all of our artillery. No. Our artillery's safe, for now. And they're about to lose both of their artillery, so that should almost even scores up. And I can see this King Dragon trying to go to a place where I usually go when we spawn on this side. But I'm like, they're pushing from the bridge. Let me actually use this spot and just use my gun depression and use my hull armor. And apparently a tank destroyer got up here before me, as you can see, as there's a SU-130 PM here. You'll see it as soon as I turn right. Turn my turret right. You can see it up there on the right. So right now, shooting the Centurion, and there's a Chrysler K, and I think there was a Stone Cold, and the Sentry is trying to aim at me, so I'm rocking back and forth, so it can't really aim at my weak points if it sees any, because I don't really know what he sees. And there's me finally noticing the tank destroyer up there. So right now I'm just tearing apart the Sentry, and here comes a Pershing. Pershing bounced off of me, which is nice. Wanted to put a shell into the upper plate of the Pershing, but I couldn't pull it off. He bounced again, and I put one into his plate. So, yeah. The Centurion 5.1 it's a nice tank, especially when you are able to use your gun depression. And when you're able to use your gun depression, and you can poke out more than you can with the other Centurions. Because you can expose more of your hull armor, and you'll actually survive. You also ricochet a lot more shots in the Centurion 5.1 because 120 millimeters of frontal armor. It won't bounce a lot of things, but it will bounce things. The reason it won't bounce a lot of things is because it's not really good angled, but it's the same angle as the other tanks. But if they actually hit you there and you kind of angle it, they'll actually ricochet off. I think you need, if you're looking face onto it, you need about 210 millimeters of penetration to go through it. And on the other Centurions, you need like 120 millimeters of penetration to go through their frontal 76 millimeter of armor. So on there, it's like 120. On here, it's like 200 and something. So yeah, more effective armor because armor's a lot thicker. So yeah, use your gun depression, and you can be a little bit more risky with this tank because the whole armor will sometimes save you. Sometimes. And that's it got a victory, made almost 100,000 silver, did 3,679 damage, and got second on the leaderboard. That's it for me. If you like this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also remember to SLAPAFISH, because water's not, and peace out. See ya.